Sound is on. Sound is on, no cursing. All right. At this time, I would like to call the village board meeting for January 17th to order. If you'd all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Peter, if you could just mute that or turn the volume down. Thank you. Clerk, would you please call roll?
Trustee Clifford?
Here.
Trustee Howley?
Here.
Trustee Kelm?
Here.
Trustee Cellier?
Here.
Attorney Buckeye?
Here.
Mayor Dwyer?
Here.
All present.
Thank you. We have one announcement, and that is something that we do annually. Hi, Phil. How are you? I can still hear myself. Is that you, Peter?
I might be on the board there.
Okay.
I might have to fix that.
Okay. As you can tell, we have some new technology. For those of you who are watching at home, we are streaming live on Facebook as well as YouTube. We received a grant from Altice, which is Cablevision, Optimum, and they're giving us some of our money back, right? Some of the fees that we pay to all of our cable bills. They gave us $10,000, and we have decided to use that money to upgrade our technology, which makes village board meetings more accessible so people don't have to attend in person. They can watch the meetings from home in the comfort of their home or on their cell phone from work. We've had installation of new microphones and the new a new camera, as well as all the technology up here. And I want to thank Chris, owner of Temple Fitness Gym, who also has a great side gig now. I don't think if he intended to have the side gig, but his side gig now is installing technology like this. So Chris, thank you. You spent countless hours on this, and we really appreciate the hard work you put into this. So thank you. And I also mention his name. If anything goes wrong, you know where to go. All right. It is that time of year again when the village announces the annual Village of Greenwood Lake Citizen of the Year. The process to determine who is most deserving of the Citizen of the Year is not always easy. Our main measure in determining who should get selected for this recognition is based, above all else, selflessness. We try to factor in one's contributions to others and their community in such a way that their impact is so great, yet they generally receive so little attention, otherwise known as unsung heroes. This year we are recognizing Naseem Khan. Naseem moved to Greenwood Lake 22 years ago and opened what we all have come to know and love as Country Grocery. The story is told that Naseem stumbled upon Greenwood Lake and found out Grand Union had been closing. Naseem, a sharp entrepreneur and businessman, saw this as an opportunity to provide our village with a locally run grocer, and has done so for the past 22 years. In those 22 years, Naseem has displayed an unwavering commitment to supporting the community he loves. From donating to the food pantry, supporting local organizations, and local families in need, Naseem has always given back. I recall a time when a generator was stolen from Naseem, and the community began a GoFundMe page for him. Naseem called me that day, incredibly distraught, that people would go into their own pockets to try to help him. Naseem has always been the first to give and the last to receive, and we all love him for this. Naseem embodies the true definition of a community-minded member of society. There is no one else I can think of more deserving for this recognition than my good friend Naseem. Thank you for everything you have done for our community, and on behalf of the village board, I present you this plaque as Citizen of the Year.
One more, Jess.
Oh, wait, well, hold on. Sister wants one.
Yes. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Naseem. I'm glad you stepped away from your business to come here.
Thanks, Naseem.
Congratulations.
Now you have to stick around for the whole meeting. All right. My son, the photographer. All right, no correspondence is posted. Village or visiting elected officials. We have with us Councilman Floyd D'Angelo. Councilman?
Good evening.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming. Reports of boards and department heads. DPW, Deputy Commissioner Bill Rowe.
With the nice weather, we've been able to get quite a lot of stuff done. We're almost done with the stage, another day or two. If the weather holds up this week, it'll be done. We've had done a lot of curb boxes. We have a truck out almost every day with a coal patch, so we're just waiting for snow.
Phew, I've never heard you say that before.
Easy, Bill.
You should have said we're waiting for spring.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for snow. You guys shouldn't be waiting for snow. No, it's been a great winter so far for that. I mean, overtime costs, salt costs, things like that. Really, I don't think people understand the impact that bad weather will have on a budget.
Cost of salt.
Yeah, that 1 week we had was horrendous. Right before Christmas with the cold weather. I mean, you guys were out around the clock on holidays, on Christmas, on New Year's, salting, and we appreciate you guys going out there doing that. I know it was tough, and people really, have to understand that we were chasing water on a 8-degree day, and it was freezing upon impact. So, yeah, that was tough. We appreciate that. All right, good. Everything else is good. Police Chief Adam Myron. We're doing good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Should I speak in?
No, you don't have to speak in.
Oh, okay.
It'll pick it up. It'll pick it up well. No, leave it there. Yeah.
First, I want to congratulate Hasim. Congratulations. I can't think of anybody more deserving than either. You've been a friend of mine for 15 years, and you're an awesome person. Thank you for all you do for the community. The Greenwood Lake Police Department for December 2022 handled 1,100 complaints, made 6 arrests, wrote 153 traffic tickets, 2 parking tickets, and handled 5 motor vehicle accidents. As we discussed before, the New York State I Love Waterway funds, we should be getting back approximately $45,000 for that. And we're also pretty far along in the DASNY grant process as well, where we were awarded $50,000. So we should be seeing this money come in, I would imagine, in the next 6 to 8 months.
Excellent. And I heard 2 parking tickets in that
2
report.
parking tickets.
Very good.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Water. Mr. Landrew.
For the month of December, the department would like to report that the plant is easily meeting its production demands without the leaks and busted pipes and meters that have plagued the village in previous winters. We now have 2 operating filters that we're running in tandem to produce optimal water quality exiting the facility. We'd also like to report that pre- and post-TOCs seem to have stabilized at a pre-well G and drawdown numbers. It's safe to expect our THM numbers to drop accordingly. Our most recent results were back down under exceedance levels at our 2 sampling locations. We took extra samples outside of our sampling requirements for informational purposes from our required locations, along with an additional sample at our entry point from the plant. Everything seems to be back now within compliance. Our first quarter 2023 disinfection byproduct samples were taken on the 7th of this month, and results should be back within the next week or so. We're also just waiting for a few things to be finalized between our engineers and the control and electrical contractors, and the Lakelands pump station VFD installation should be underway. We had an issue today with a low pressure call up in, I don't know if you can maybe call, it's Brianne, right?
Yeah, that's on, up on Mountain View. Yep.
And see if it's back. The switches get out of adjustment and it ends up cycling either down, either overflowing or cycling down, where it puts the people up on top with low pressure. So I just came from the setting the switches back now, and everything should be fine there. So if you could maybe call Brianne, ask her if
I'm gonna
everything's back to normal.
Text her right now for you.
Also, our electrical contract is also waiting on some parts and materials to install the necessary equipment and disconnect at the new well site and the Lakelands pump station to run the new generator at either location. We'd also like to thank the town DPW for their assistance with a number of service line repairs and a potentially disastrous water main leak or break at the 17A210 bridge. That concludes my report.
I told the board that you did a little tour with our Delaware Engineering last week, looking at things, and we're underway with developing that plan. Unfortunately, leaning away from the concept of taking water from the lake, heading more into the domain of well water treatment. which obviously I know you didn't want to hear.
No, unfortunately not, but I mean, if maybe another type of facility could treat well water more effectively. The facility we have now is designed to treat surface water, and we're treating well water with it.
Yeah.
It's not really designed for that. I mean, it gets it done, but it's not optimal.
We'll try to use that $5 million as best we can. Thank you, Phil. Okay, we're going to go into commission reports, beginning with Trustee Clifford. Your report, please.
Thank you, good evening. I've been working with the Chamber of Commerce, getting the word out about the centennial meeting that we're having March 13th.
Nancy, can you just pull the mic a little
I'm
closer
too
to you?
far away?
Right, Chris? Yeah?
Is that better?
Okay.
So I've been working with the Chamber of Commerce. We're trying to get the word out about the March 13th meeting that we're going to have between the businesses and organizations. And the Chamber's been a big help. They've been emailing businesses, and I've been going door to door handing out flyers. So I hope we'll have a good turnout. Another important centennial date is February 28th, our logo contest. All entries should be in by then. So I'm hoping we get more entries. Thank you very much. Tonight is the school board meeting, so I can't give you a school board report, but I did pass on some village information. I told them that we were starting live streaming tonight, so they were very excited about that. And organizations, the Little League registration is going on till February 15th, and the Lions will be starting their chocolate bunny sale in March. Grace Lutheran Church is having their annual shredding event in May 20th, 9 a.m. to noon. And that's the end of my report. It's been very quiet with events, and, you know, everybody's busy being warm at home. Thank you very much.
Okay. Before we go on, I just want someone who's watching Facebook Live, if you can just post a comment that says you can hear us. I just want to make sure that you can hear us from there, because someone posted that they can't hear anything. So hopefully people can. Can you guys hear us from where you are? Okay. All right, sounds good. Trustee Howley, your report, please.
I really have nothing to report regarding the police, DPW, or water, but I'll just touch base on the beach. I know it's the middle of January, and we're talking about snowstorms, but believe me, it's not too early to get involved with the planning for the upcoming season, especially with personnel. Last year and every year, there's always a little issue with the appropriate amount of lifeguards and other staff. Working with the town of Warwick Supervisor Sweeten, we are going to have sometime in February a job fair for lifeguards, etc. So we'll have all that information out in plenty of time. But we definitely need high school kids over 15 to get involved with the lifeguard, and that will include not only the beach, but up in Cuts Camp up in Warwick for their pool. So it's just starting, but keep your eyes out for these postings. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Trustee Kellum, your report, please.
Okay, lots going on at the library. They just received $17,000 in bullet aid from Senator Skoufis, as well as another $15,000 on its way slated for youth and family services. The county just restored the Orange Library Association funding in the amount of $115,000. That's split between the 17 libraries in the county by population. This was eliminated in 2020, and they are very grateful that the legislators restored that, because it's a big help to them. Winter and spring programming will start in February, so contact the library to sign up. Jill, the director, has been training through RCLS to begin switching the landscape design over to native plants. There's more money available for this through a sustainable library initiative, so she's working on that. They were also able to contract a new state-of-the-art digitalization company, and new local history content should be coming available online by February. And I'd just like to give a big thank you to the entire library staff, because nobody ever really recognizes them for their hard work and their dedication to our community. The seniors, things are going great. If anybody, since it's January, every Wednesday and Friday is Zumba at the senior center. Every Tuesday and Thursday is yoga and bingo. And Wednesday is lunch is served from Office of the Aging. If you have any questions or you'd like more information, you can contact our Senior Director, Donna, at 477-8482. She'll be happy to answer any of your questions. That's my report.
Great, thank you. Before we move on, I don't know if this is going to be a blessing or a curse that I can get instant feedback from the public, but it seems that they just can't hear the audience, which we know. We did actually order an additional microphone that will be out here for audience participation. The one item that was on back order that has not arrived yet was that additional microphone. So hopefully by the next board meeting, we will have an additional microphone out there that can be used by members of the public so that you can hear wonderful things like our water suppliers report, which I know everybody is, looking forward to. All right, Trustee Celia, your report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. My report will cover activity in the month of December for both building, planning, zoning. The building department took in $4,421 in the month of December. 1/3 of that attributed to building permits, followed by abstract fees, short-term renewals, and permit renewal fees. In the month of December, the planning board did meet. There were 2 applicants on the docket. First, the development on Court Avenue was brought before the board. That was referred to the ZBA for an interpretation of the structures and for a use variance. Second applicant, Garden Center, a returning application, returned with an updated set of plans. They continue to work through the requirements with the applicant, so that also is a continuing application. That completes my report.
Thank you. Attorney Buckeye, your report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. And as I regularly say, my report is confidential. However, I'm prepared to answer any questions. The report has been distributed to the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, John. Clerk, your report, please.
By the end of this week, any unpaid water bills, a notice will be going out. If your water bill is not paid by the end of February, it will be re-levied onto your taxes. And that's all I have to say. If you need anything, please give Holly or myself a call at Village Hall. Thank you.
Election petitions.
Election petitions. Election petitions are out there. If anybody's looking to run for one of the 4 seats, mayor for 2 years, 2 trustee seats for 2 years, and there's a 1-year trustee seat as well. You can go on to the Board of Elections, Orange County Board of Elections, to download any type of paperwork that you may need. First round is due February 8th. All petitions have to be handed in by February 14th. Election is March 21st.
Village Justice is also up.
Oh, Justice too, yeah. Sorry.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Keith.
I'm sure he doesn't mind that you didn't mention it.
Wow, I'm the only one whose seat's not up this year.
Yeah, wow, look at that.
For Nancy, you would have to run twice.
Yeah, I know.
I had to do it.
I had to do it too.
I had to run 2 years in a row. Actually, I ran 3 years in a row. Yep, 3 years in a row. All right, we're moving into old business. Centennial Planning Committee. The Centennial Planning Committee continues to meet, and within the Centennial Planning Committee, because this is such an enormous venture, we have multiple committees underneath the Centennial Planning Committee, and they're meeting monthly, some are meeting weekly, and there is a lot of activity that's happening right now. And details are on our village website. People can get involved in the Centennial Planning Committee or different components of the committee, which will include fireworks, which will include a reenactment of the initial village board meeting, as well as the vote that took place 100 years ago to establish the village of Greenwood Lake. There are going to be all kinds of great events in 2024, which is the 100-year anniversary for the village. And it's going to be a year-long celebration of our history and kind of highlighting everything that has gone on over those 100 years, as well as expanding the history back beyond that time to the Native American period in Greenwood Lake. There is an important meeting on March 13th at 7 p.m. at the Senior Center, where we have invited members of the business community as well as local organizations to attend and be a part of the process. We want all businesses and all organizations within the community to be certainly involved with the entire centennial process, helping them, but also helping share the information and really expand on the history of our community. So March 13th, 7 p.m. at the Senior Center, there will be a meeting open to members of the business community, as well as those who are in any organization within Greenwood Lake may attend. Village sidewalk update. We've finally completed the 17A sidewalk on Route 17A heading up toward Warwick Mountain right in front of the Garden Center, connecting our downtown with those businesses on the external portion of Greenwood Lake. And the project was not fun, but certainly worthwhile. I've received a lot of good compliments, and it's always nice to see people using those sidewalks and walking safely from their homes or businesses into downtown Greenwood Lake. Waterstone Road, we got another grant, which was announced at the last meeting. We got another $100,000 from Community Development, which will help us build a new sidewalk on Waterstone Road, which will connect the previously installed grant-funded sidewalks. It will connect it right downtown. So there is a stretch of Waterstone Road between the ambulance corps at Windermere Avenue down to the gazebo that does not have sidewalks. And then beyond that point, from the gazebo to the bridge, there are sidewalks. We got a grant from Senator John Bonisic about 6 or 7 years ago for that project. So now we're going to connect that entirely right into downtown. Some excellent news that I've received recently from the DOT, which is the entity, the state organization that manages and oversees rights of way for the state highways. I've always made the argument that they should be responsible for managing and maintaining the sidewalks in downtown Greenwood Lake, since it is on a state highway. They didn't really respond to our calls or our insisting that they be responsible. And we went ahead and used CHIPS funding, which is state money that's used for roads and infrastructure. And we began to redevelop the sidewalks in our downtown. After 10 years of trying to get the DOT to support us and pay for and cover this, they finally reached out this year, and they have agreed to begin work on sidewalks in downtown Greenwood Lake this spring. They're going to begin with handicap ramps and accessibility, and then they will go from there and do the actual stretches of sidewalk in downtown Greenwood Lake. So that's a big victory for us because, as we have seen, sidewalks are incredibly expensive, and unless you can find grant money to pay for it, it's essentially impossible. It's just the nature of the business. Doing sidewalks on our roads, on our streets that we own and we manage the rights of way, is far cheaper and much less red tape. But doing sidewalks on the DOT right of way is an incredibly arduous process, and it was not fun to do. But it is complete, and we can put that behind us. TTHMs and water status. I'm sure everybody got the letters that said we had violated a certain drinking water component, trihalomethane. We sent out notices to every single village resident, and we felt that it was a short-term increase in the trihalomethanes, and many other municipalities across the state that have well water deal with this issue on a regular basis. I mentioned this to the Village of Florida, that I was so concerned and I was so nervous that we had to send out this letter, and the mayor over there told me that he had been sending out that letter for like 8 years straight, because it seems to be a common thing. However, the positive news is that our water operator, Phil Langier, provided me with a very nice graph that we'll actually put on the website. Peter, if we can do that, that would be great. We'll put that on the website. That shows where we spiked and then where we are now. And there has been a consistent decline in the trihalomethanes, and we are currently no longer in a state that would trigger a violation. The trihalomethanes are under control thanks to Phil and all the work that you've done to keep our water as perfect as it can be. The $3 million grant that we got from the state is soon to be funded. Usually it takes a couple of years. We began the application process for this grant about 2.5 years ago, and we were awarded. We were given notice that we were awarded this grant last year for $3 million, and this will go toward water infrastructure, rebuilding the water plant, and doing necessary maintenance on our distribution lines, as well as gaining access to new well sites to provide the actual drinking water for us. So that work is underway. Phil has put in countless hours in this project. We hired a firm, Delaware Engineering, who actually was successful in getting us this grant. I credit them entirely with getting us the grant. They did a great job putting that together, lobbying on our behalf and securing the funding by putting together a great study for us. And we're working with them very closely to execute the actual grant process. Police vehicles, we authorized the police chief to order an additional police vehicle last board meeting, and it seems that once we get this vehicle in our fleet, we'll be nearly 50% hybrid vehicles in our police fleet, which is incredible because in a state, and I don't mean New York State, but in a state where the nation is going through a gas crisis and elevated gas prices, it really played out to be very valuable over the last 2 years for us to have semi-hybrid vehicles. Now, these are not the ones that you plug into a wall. They have new technology. They're made by Ford, and we saved countless dollars, that will be long-lasting. So it's been a great investment, and one of the things that I was nervous about, which you were too, Chief, was what would be the maintenance on things like this. It was kind of relatively new technology, and they've been great. The vehicles are in operation, and really we've been saving a lot of money on that. So I want to thank you for bringing that initiative forward to us and executing that well. So thank you for that. Streetlight LED conversion. At last board meeting, we went through a proposal and a presentation by a company that serves other municipalities across the state and across the nation. And essentially what they do is they provide municipalities with the opportunity to purchase streetlights from their energy supplier, and in our case, Orange and Rockland, to purchase those streetlights and upgrade them to LED. And essentially what they've provided to us is an initial cost and then a long-term savings. Where would we meet the return on investment? And that would be at about 8 years. And then once that 8 years hits, after purchasing all of our streetlights and upgrading them all to LED, we will then be saving money year after year. And our business here is to look 20, 40, 50 years down the road, and it seems like a great investment. So at this point in time, the village board has only authorized me to execute a contract to have this company do an analysis and a study on our streetlight infrastructure to determine whether or not it would be, to see whether or not it would meet their expectations and their projections. And once we have that, we'll have that study by the next board meeting. We'll evaluate it and see if we want to move forward on it. But we have, this village board has constantly made strides to upgrade our streetlights to LED. Right now, we're at about 25% complete upgrade to LED streetlights. And what we're looking to do is have what are called smart streetlights. And these smart streetlights can be adjusted automatically by computer. And some people might think that that's strange, but I cannot tell you how many times I've received a call from a resident that has a streetlight in their eye or through their window that is keeping them up at night, or something is happening in their life. They're a police officer, now they have to work nights or work days or whatever the case is, and things shift. And streetlights play a big role. And also some people have called and said they're not bright enough. So these streetlights will be adjustable if we choose to go that direction. Again, it's all going to be about cost and how long will it take to recoup that cost and begin to see savings. And we cannot be short-sighted with things like that. We have to look for the long-term goal, and that's a 10 to 20-year projection. So that'll be upcoming at our next meeting. FEMA funding. One of the things that we've been talking about as a board is FEMA funding. Now, back in I believe it was 2020 or 2021, we had Hurricane Ida. And for most of the state, Hurricane Ida blew by with no real impact. But for some reason, Greenwood Lake, being in this valley that we're in, the clouds decided to stay for 48 hours and dump nearly 12 inches of rain on us. And it impacted a lot of homes, and it impacted parks that we own as a Village Greenwood Lake. We, I would say, spent about $5,000 to $7,000 in removal, debris removal, and cleanup, and time and man hours. But what we have been able to do, working with HDR, an engineering firm, is to get nearly $50,000 from FEMA to help us mitigate future disasters, future incidents of flooding that could potentially knock out our playground, our Little League field, our water plant that's right there in that area. So we're fortunate that our engineering firm was able to find this access to this money of about $50,000 to rebuild some of the damaged components like the Vista Trail, $23,000 for our batting cages in the park, as well as money for our water tower access road, which is right in the area. So we were able to get some money from FEMA to mitigate potential future damage. Chief of Police contract is here on the agenda. You know what I'll do for those of you who are watching at home? People in the public have access to the agenda. What I'll do in the future is we'll put the agenda on the website so that members of the public can kind of follow along. I think it'd be nice if you guys can see what I'm reading instead of just listening to what I'm saying. So, Peter, I'll send it to you before the meetings, and then just post it on the website. And then members of the public at home, you can just go onto our website and you'll find the agenda for that evening, and then you can sign on to our board meeting at home and follow along. Emergency response plan. The chief has been working very hard over the past 6 months, if not longer, on an emergency response plan. He is just about finished that. He's got to meet with or Trustee Howley as well as myself and just go over the last little bit of details on that. And then we will have an emergency management plan that we can then distribute to the fire department, EMS, as well as other agencies countywide. Yes.
Do you want to explain to the public that we're going to go into executive session for the contract?
Yes. Yeah. So the police chief contract. Did I just gloss over that entirely?
Yes.
Completely. So I said, as I said, police chief contract. That's when I said I'll give you members of the public access to the agendas, but I won't tell you what's on the agenda right now. Police chief contract. We're going to go into executive session after this meeting to discuss the details of the chief of police contract that Trustee Howley and I have worked with the chief to negotiate. And then once we go into executive session, the feed will end because that is a confidential contractual situation that cannot be discussed in the public. However, any vote that will take place as a result of that executive session must be in the public. So we will go back live, and any vote that we vote on, whether it's police matters or other employment matters, will always be done in the public. Another item here, first responder property tax exemption. I received an email from NICOM, which is our New York Conference of Mayors, with an indication that there is some changes and additions to a first responder property tax exemption, and that municipalities can opt into, by resolution and by law, a property tax exemption for first responders. These are volunteer first responders, fire department, EMS, who live within the community and who serve actively within the community. There are some finer details, such as they must have served for at least 5 years in that capacity, have property in the village. There will be a cap for how much can they be exempt for, as well as a percent that will be allowed as an exemption. So that is something that we discussed at our workshop, and the village board is very supportive of this concept. And Attorney Buckheit has drafted a law, which essentially what we're going to do is use that law as kind of a framework for discussion. So the village board has been given a copy of this. They're going to take it home and review it, read it, come up with ideas, and see if they like it. And then we will come back to the next board meeting with a further discussion on that matter. So very much looking forward to that. I think it's a great thing, and it seems that the board is very much supportive in that as well. Now we go into new business, tree pickup. I'm sure many of you at home might have Christmas trees in front of your house. We're trying as best we can to get out there and take these trees away. If you do have a Christmas tree in front of your house, please do not hesitate to call Village Hall at 845-477-9215, and they will send someone out to grab that Christmas tree. Beach passes 2023. As Trustee Howley mentioned, it might seem like winter, but it's not too early to talk about the beach, right? We discussed the beach fees and whether or not there will be an increase on beach fees, and we all agreed that there should not be an increase on beach fees. They will remain exactly as they were last year. What this means is if you get your beach pass before June 1st, you will pay the exact same fee that you paid 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. If you buy your beach pass after June 1st, you will pay the additional fee, which is no different than what we did last year. So there are no increased fees on the beach this year. Trustee Howley has been working incredibly hard to oversee the operations of the beach, and I know he has many sleepless nights around beach season about staffing and stocking the toilet paper and all these other things that he didn't sign up for when he became a trustee. And I appreciate all the hard work that you put into it. It's much appreciated. So the beach will open, I think, Memorial Day weekend, right?
Yes, sir.
And so you'll have plenty of time. We're going to start advertising the beach passes soon. You will not get an actual printout of the beach pass until closer to beach opening, but you'll certainly have the opportunity to buy your pass probably within the next couple of weeks. I will advertise that in the newspaper, on Facebook, as well as our website when we are ready to begin advertising. Orange County Tourism Grant. I received an email from Orange County indicating that they are going to provide tourism grants of up to $4,999 These grants are a result of many things, I would say, namely sales tax increases that have occurred in the county, sales tax at Woodbury Commons, sales tax with the new theme park that just opened. Now there's a casino in Newburgh, which is going to generate sales tax. There are a lot of great things happening in the county. And sales tax across the county, believe it or not, some people might not know this, but we get money as a result of the sales from Woodbury Commons. So for every county sales tax that occurs at Woodbury Commons, we get a piece of that as a direct payment into the Village of Greenwood Lake. The county is taking it one step further, and they're going to provide eligible municipalities access to some additional grant money. And what I've asked the village board for is if we apply this year to support our fireworks, and then in 2024 to support our centennial parade. The village board has agreed, so I will submit the application for this year, and I will put a note into the county that we will be applying for our centennial committee's parade the following year. So we do appreciate the county in providing those funds and distributing them among the municipalities that generate a lot of this tax revenue. Another thing is bed tax. It's a basically hotel tax, and Airbnbs contribute, short-term rentals contribute, motels, bed and breakfasts contribute a fee that goes to the county for every night that is rented in your community. This is one more way that the county is providing that money back to the municipalities that help them and generate those revenues to begin with. Equipment auction. We have been auctioning off some of our equipment. Mickey's asking, when are the fireworks? They are
July 1st.
July 1st with a rain date of July 7th. So they will be Saturday. So the parade and fireworks will be Saturday, July 1st. Rain date will be Saturday, July 7th. Good question, Mickey. Glad you're paying attention.
July 8th is the Saturday.
All right. So is the 1st?
1st is the Saturday, and then July 8th
Okay.
is
Oh,
the
right.
Saturday.
Yep. Okay. Equipment auction. We have been auctioning off equipment that has been sitting in disrepair at our DPW. We've always auctioned off police vehicles when they come out of service. Sergeant Dan Jones has been in charge of our auction, and I think he thought that when he first signed up for this, he would only be responsible for auctioning police equipment. But we've had him auctioning plows, water trucks, tools, you name it. Dan Jones is doing a great job. We appreciate it, Sergeant. He's bringing in good revenue to help us offset a lot of the great things we're doing in the village and help us offset costs in the police department. And we're just trying to look to clean everything up and, you know, maximize the revenue potential and just try to get everything organized. So we appreciate his efforts. On to events. We've got Friday nights men's basketball at the middle school every Friday from 8 to 10. The community center, located right next door at the old firehouse, is open for teen night every Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesdays 4 to 6 p.m. for 2nd and 5th graders. Wednesdays 6 to 8 p.m. for 6th and 8th graders. Baseball signups and softball signups are both open through February 15th. If you register after February 15th, there will be a fee, and that can be done at greenwoodlakelittleleague.com. At this time, we'll open it up to privilege of the floor on any general topic, and I will also ask Facebook if they had anything too. But right now, we'll start with the public, and I'll try to summarize their questions for those who are watching at home and we don't yet have the microphone. So anything from the public? Nothing. It's a really tough crowd, those of you at home. They're probably struggling with their excitement on what they're going to ask. All right, let's see. I don't see any questions from the public, but you're certainly welcome to mention anything at any point. All right. So I guess here's the time. I was going to read my statement at the end, but I feel like a lot of people are going to drop off as we motion to pay audited bills and all the other things. So I will read my statement. After 10 years serving as mayor of the Village of Greenwood Lake, I will not be seeking re-election to the office of mayor. In light of Supervisor Mike Sweeten's plan to retire at the end of his term, I am announcing my candidacy to be supervisor of the town of Warwick. I would like to congratulate Supervisor Sweeten on his retirement and thank him for his years of service to our town and to the Village of Greenwood Lake. Mike has not only been a dependable colleague and a mentor for me, I consider him a friend. Mike has led our town in a manner ensuring a promising future for generations, and I am grateful to have had the opportunity to work with him for all these years. Serving as Greenwood Lake's mayor has been the honor of a lifetime. When I ran for mayor 10 years ago, at the age of 27, I set out on a path with a clear agenda and a laser focus. My primary objective was to create an inclusive administration that represented the will of the residents and businesses while addressing the challenges of the day and preparing us for the future. My time as mayor has been exciting, challenging, and incredibly rewarding. Becoming mayor of the place where you grew up provides you with a sense of pride and achievement. It also provides you with a sense of direction. Being able to create a new public park with grant funding, open a teen center and community center from an old firehouse, cleaning the lake, and increasing home values are just some of the many things my team and I have accomplished. Working with other partners in government, including our village board and staff, my team and I have been able to secure nearly $5 million in grant funding to support our police, EMS, senior citizens, cleaning up the lake, creating parks, building sidewalks, paving roads, upgrading water infrastructure, and turning almost all of our public buildings into ADA user-friendly facilities. We created three new public parks within the village, including the village's first and only access boat launch for canoes and kayaks. All of this was done while keeping taxes low and turning a water fund deficit into a surplus and expanding services for all residents village-wide. I've been incredibly fortunate to work with amazing and talented people on our village board and to have had such committed and caring staff working under me in all facets of village government. Above all else, I would not be where I am today without my loving and supportive wife, Colleen, and our two amazing children, Emma and Joseph, who are here tonight. I will deeply miss the job as mayor, but I find solace in knowing that if elected town supervisor, I can continue representing Greenwood Lake and the broader town of Warwick as we embark into the next chapter of our town's history. My term as mayor ends March 31st, and I intend to continue working hard each day until that time is up. There's still much work to be done, and I will do everything I can to ensure a smooth transition to the next administration. That's my formal written thing. One thing I wanted to mention, which is Phil. So Phil and I, we've been great friends for a long time, and we always used to talk to each other, and I've always relied on Phil. But nowadays, the unfortunate side effect of being mayor and Phil being in the position he's in is he doesn't want to hear from me, and I don't want to hear from him. And I can't wait to be able to call you, Phil, and talk about UFC, jiu-jitsu, or golf, or anything else that we want to talk about, and not have to worry about a water main break, trihalomethanes, or any of the other crap you have to deal with. And
Just mean I can ask you for any favor?
you can ask me for anything you need. I got your back forever, man. You've given blood, sweat, and everything you got for this village, and we can't thank you enough for everything you did, man. You've put your heart and soul into this job, and I'm gonna miss having you by my side. And you've done a great job, and I appreciate it. Yeah. All right. So that was my canned written speech. Now we'll move on to the boring stuff where people begin to drop off. Resolution, we have one resolution which is related to the election, resolution number 34, the upcoming village election. What's going on?
You're skipping.
Okay. May I have a motion to pay all audited bills?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, trustee Kelm, trustee Selye, trustee Clifford,
Aye.
trustee Hallie,
Aye.
all aye.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the
September's wrong.
November
Sorry,
what?
28th.
November 28th village board meeting?
No, it was actually December 19th.
December 19th. May I have a motion to approve the December 19th village board meeting?
Make a motion.
Second.
Trustee Hallie, trustee Kelm, trustee Clifford,
Aye.
Aye.
trustee Selye,
Aye.
all aye.
Okay, resolution number 34. The upcoming village election will be held at the Greenwood Lake Senior Center located at 132 Windermere Avenue, Greenwood Lake, New York, on Tuesday, March 21st, 2023, between the hours of 12 p.m. and 9 p.m. The following election inspectors are authorized to work the election: Deirdre Spaltoff, Jennifer El Rafai, Brian Campagna. May I have a motion?
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Second.
I'll second it.
Aye.
All right. Trustee Clifford, trustee Howie?
Right.
All aye.
Aye.
Thank you. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge one other person who gets the brunt of my and sometimes my wife's harassment, and that's Peter Hall, our web guy, our everything guy. I don't even know what to call you anymore because you do everything. You do our sign, you do our Facebook, you do our outreach to newspapers, you jump into every single committee and volunteer, and you really do a lot of work for it. And I appreciate you helping Chris in setting up this technology, making sure that everything goes well. And you've been a great partner and a great guy to work with, and I thank you very much for all you've done. Thank you, Peter.
I'm just a resident who really enjoys what you've done in Greenwood Lake.
Well, thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we have one budget transfer, and that's going to be transferring an AED purchase out of police into the beach, which is where it's going to be held, and that's the correct place for it to be purchased out of that account. We'll be transferring A7110.400, $1,575 into account A3120.200. May I have a motion for that transfer?
Make a motion.
Second.
Who was that? Howie?
Kelly Tom.
Kelly Tom? Trustee Clifford?
Aye.
Trustee Cellier?
Aye.
All aye.
Okay, and those of you who are still watching, I know I'm bouncing, right? This is not going to happen forever. I'm not going to keep looking at Facebook, but I just wanted to mention, if you weren't here in the very beginning, we got a $10,000 grant from Cablevision Altice, which helped us upgrade our technology. We have a new camera, we have new microphone systems, and we have new technology that is allowing us to stream automatically onto Facebook Live as well as YouTube. And Chris from Temple Fitness is the one who helped us out, pull all that together. And, you know, really, I would not have been able to do it at all. That's not even a question. There's no way I could have done this. I knew Chris was the guy to do it, and you did a great job. You had us up and running right by today, and thank you very much for doing that. So great job. All right, we are not going to adjourn the meeting. However, we are going to go into executive session to discuss the contents of the Chief of Police's contract from our negotiation, and we will.
Reconvene.
Can we pause Facebook Live?
Yeah.
Shut it.
If you just, yeah,